Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Sarah Infantino from the Abacus team. Today's video will focus on how to go from a SWOT analysis to an Hoshin Kanri. The example that we will be using today is based on the health and social care field and was created by the Abacus team. For those who are not familiar with the SWOT analysis, or for those who may need a reminder, a SWOT analysis helps to get a scan of the environment within your workplace or organization. It helps you assess internal factors that might affect your business, these being your strengths and weaknesses, and external factors being your opportunities and threats. Some examples of how to get this information include meeting with your customers to inquire, conducting focus groups, or asking your employees. This can be done through direct conversations or indirectly through the use of surveys. These are just some examples. In the first quadrant, you'll input your organization's strengths. Questions to ask yourself are, what advantages do you have? What do you do well? What relevant resources do you have access to? And looking at your strengths and thinking about them in relation to your competitors. The second quadrant is your weaknesses. And questions you can ask yourself and others are, what could you improve? What do you do badly? What should you avoid? The third quadrant are your opportunities. And the questions here are, where are the good opportunities facing you? What are the interesting trends you are aware of? Look at your strengths and ask yourself whether these open up any opportunities, or look at your weaknesses and ask yourself whether you could open up opportunities by eliminating them. And the last quadrant is threats. The questions here include, what obstacles do you face? What is your competition doing? Are the required specifications for your job, products, or services changing? Is changing technology threatening your position? And could any of your weaknesses seriously threaten your business? Some of the strengths include interdisciplinary team, skilled and trained professionals abiding by code of ethics, and government funding. In the weaknesses, you have delays and long wait times to obtain services, hierarchical structures, and slow in implementing changes due to the bureaucratic system, and standardization and regulation, leading to an increase in paperwork, standardized assessments, and rigid protocols. In opportunities, you'll find optimization of technology, increased government funding and support through awareness of demand, and promote EDIA, which is equitable, diverse, inclusive, and accessible services. Some threats include privatization, so quicker services for clients, privatization, enhanced remuneration for employees resulting in losing employees, as well as the use of technology leading to employees' perceptions of being monitored. Once this information is collected, there's a process of prioritization that occurs. This is a necessary step because, one, you may have a lot of information, and two, you'll want to validate what is on your SWOT. Voting for the items to prioritize is done with the same participants as data collection. This can be done by categorizing the factors by importance. So an example would be using a scale from 1 to 5, or categorizing them as high, medium, or low, depending on the impact they have on your organization's objectives. After voting, you can validate and fact check to see if it is really a problem or just an impression. For example, in weaknesses, you'll find understaff and staff turnover. After validating, you may realize that the turnover rate in reality isn't that high. So this would mean that it should not be prioritized in your SWOT analysis. Once the factors have been prioritized and validated, address the ones that are of high priority first. Now, the next step is taking the information from your SWOT analysis and using it to create an Hoshin Kanri. Once a list of prioritized factors have been established and everyone is in agreement, begin to use these factors to inspire high-level breakthrough objectives. In the example that I'm showing, these are the strategic directions. You'll find them here. We decided to categorize all the strategic directions under two major themes, one being people, growth, and sustainability, and the other being quality, service, and access. If this is something that helps you organize your strategic directions, please feel free to do so. A strategic direction that we have in our social service Hoshin Kanri example is to develop strategies to enhance the equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility of social services to marginalized populations. For initiatives, it is important to brainstorm ones that are related to the breakthrough objectives or strategic directions of your organization. An initiative that we have is to address demand for social services, gaps in services, and growing disparities. So once the brainstorming for strategic directions and initiatives is completed, you move on to projects and you begin to brainstorm projects that are related to the higher levels. Brainstorming with yourself and a few colleagues is an important step when creating the Hoshin Kanri. We suggest using the creativity of your team members to find compelling contributions. Now, to keep track of the relationships between each level and to show how closely they relate to each other, a black and white dot are used. A black dot signifies a high relationship, while a white dot suggests a medium relationship. Here we have identify and implement innovative and EDIA service delivery models. We can see that there's a black dot here, which means that it is strongly correlated. There's a strong relationship between that initiative and the strategic direction of expand technologies that can transform service delivery and improve efficiency. Where there is no dot, it means that the relationship is insignificant or there is none at all. Moving on to looking at how the projects are connected to the initiatives, you'll see that there are some projects that have no connection to any of the initiatives, some that may be connected, strongly connected to all the initiatives, and some that are scattered in between. When looking at the projects, you can input the project number as a way to categorize, organize, as well as to see how many projects you have. You can also input the timing, either in quarters or the actual year-month date of when the project is supposed to start. In the last quadrant, we have the list of departments. The black dot under each project shows the department that is leading it, whereas the white dot under a project is to show which departments are supporting the project. So if we take digitization of client files, we see that IT is the one that's leading it. However, legal services, HR, quality and safety, and care services will be assisting to some capacity. Now let's zoom out and unhide the rest of the cells in order to look at the entire matrix. You'll notice that there are initiatives and projects that are highlighted. We have highlighted the ones with the most connections. For example, the two initiatives in a salmon-like or light orange color are connected to all or almost all of the strategic directions, as you see here with all the dots. Then there are the 5 projects highlighted in blue, which means that these projects have the most relationships with the initiatives. Now, because there are a lot of projects and you have already taken the steps towards prioritizing them, by highlighting the ones with the most amount of connections, you can go ahead and hide the other columns. You want to keep all of the initiatives and strategic directions visible. However, you want to clearly show which projects you'll be starting first. That brings us to the end of the video. Thank you everyone for listening. We hope this provided some clarity on how to take the SWOT analysis to an Hoshin Kanri. See you in the next video.